In the name of Almighty, the most gracious and the most merciful. In today's session, we'll be discussing about communication skills. In this lecture, we have a PPT of communication, what makes a good communicator, and also communication process, and active listening and non-verbal communication skills, and effective presentation skills. But in today's session, we'll be discussing only about the process of communication alone. Fine, and give an introduction to communication. In previous lecture, we discussed about the communication and what are the types of communication. I was talking to you regarding verbal and non-verbal communication. Even we had some videos being shared regarding the non-verbal communication, how the non-verbal communication is happening and how much part it is playing in our communication. We were discussing about all these things. Today we'll just see in an elaborative manner the communication process alone. So communication, of course, is a dynamic process. It's a process we convey a thought or a feeling to someone else. Right? Just a simple definition of communication. What communication actually does, and it is received depends on the set of events, stimuli that person is exposed to. Stimuli means whatever elicit a response is called as a stimuli. Fine, whatever you're seeing some object, that object will be your stimuli, and you're hearing a sound that can also be called as a stimuli. Fine. So these are basic things about communication, and communication is about how you say what you say. Fine. And that is very important in the communication. It's not just a message. Fine. And if I ask you like about communication, how an effective communication should be, even I am sure that you will have plenty of these kind of things to say. And if I ask you, like, what makes a good communicator, who will be called as a good communicator? Even among us, there will be people who are very good communicator. We'll send them for negotiations. You have to do a talking at home or with some friends or in an official setting. We'll choose a person for that, right? Oh, you go and talk. Fine. Because that person will be a good communicator. He'll be able to convince people, talk to people, and exactly share what that person is intending to share. Fine. So here there are few things which are, or which can be stated as some characteristics of a good communicator. First thing, he'll be an active listener. He'll be listening actively. And second thing, he'll be an effective presenter, and he'll be a quick thinker. Fine. You cannot just sit and think when you are having a communication. You must be quick in thinking, and he will be a win-win negotiator. Always when you go for a negotiation, he'll be dealing with it in a very positive manner and will always come out with success. These characteristics are, a main or major characteristics of a good communicator, can be just said as. And in order to be a good communicator, you must also understand what is the process of communication, how this communication happens. Only then you will be able to master these, various aspects in this process. If communication is not just about you speak something and a person who is in front of you is listening to that, and end of the communication. It's not like that. That particular event or the process can be subdivided into various, small minute categories. Why are we doing this? Why are we just dividing it? Why can't it be very simple? We are making it a complex thing in order to simplify it and understand each part of it, and then master each part of it. Fine. Only when you master each part of it, you will become a good communicator. So it's very important the process of communication, how the communication actually happens. It's very important. So if you see that, this is one way of explaining the process of communication. Even previous lesson I told you, like, there are many ways of process. Okay, each scholar or each author will give you one type of process, but majorly this one I found as very comprehensive, so that you can understand each unit in the process of communication very well. There are different units. First is source of the communication, second is encoding, that's another process. Third is channel, choosing a channel of communicating. Fourth one is decoding, and fifth one is receiver. All these are small units in the process of communication. Let's see each unit in detail. First, let's take source. First one, what is source? Source itself means the message or the content of the communication, like why to communicate, why, what is the need of communicating it, and what to communicate, what is the message which we are intending to communicate, and how much useful that communication is. Fine. Then accuracy of the information to be communicated, how much accurate the information which we are holding. All these things denote to the source of the communication. Fine. What is it? Why to communicate, what to communicate, usefulness of the communication, and accuracy of information to be communicated. All these things contains the source of the communication. Fine. Next is the encoding process. Okay, fine. Now we decided what to communicate. We know very well, yeah, I have to send this message to someone. Fine, I to my parent, I'm going to convey this. Why I'm conveying? Because I need this something. Fine. And what is the accuracy of the communication, that this is the purpose of this communication. See, everything is fixed now. Now second thing what we are going to discuss is the encoding process, the process of transferring the information you want to communicate into a form that can be sent or correctly decoded at the other end. Like for example, whether you are going to speak to your parent directly, or are you going to call and inform your parent, or you're going to write a letter to your parent. Fine. Or all these things, what process, or how are you going to convey, or whatever communication you have, which form you are going to present it, that is called as encoding. Fine. Encoding also has a connection with the ability to convey the information. See, I cannot speak, so I'll just write and give it to them. Fine. So the ability of to convey the information is very important when it comes to encoding. Third one is eliminate source of confusion. For example, cultural issues, mistaken assumptions, and missing information. All these things should not be there while encoding it. Like whatever you want to convey, you have to completely, in a very clear cut manner, you need to encode it. Fine. And knowing your audience, then you also must know who is your audience. Only when you know who is your audience, you will be able to decide how you are going to communicate it. For example, let me tell you, like at home you are sitting and you are feeling thirsty. Fine. You want to ask for a water. Fine, a glass of water. Fine. If your parent is in the kitchen or somewhere, you will ask them, but how will you encode your communication? How will you ask them for the glass of water? It'll be very polite. Fine. Politely you will ask for a glass of water, and you will also may add some words like kindly give me, or please give me, can you get, kind of sentences we'll be using. Okay. At the same time, you have your younger brother or younger sister, your sibling, there near you. You are asking them. It will be kind of kind of polite, of course, but not so polite like you how you talk with your parent. Fine. So when you know the audience, you are going to encode the communication in different way. Fine. So first, you decided what will be the message. Second, you decide how are you going to communicate it. Encoding process it's called as. The third one is the channel of communication. How are you going to uh, convey this? This is what is most important thing, the channel of communication, where it's going to be a face-to-face meeting, or it's going to be a telephonic conversation, or it's going to be a video conferencing, or anything can be, verbal communication, or even written communication. It can be written letter, email, memos, reports, or anything it can be. Fine. That is, you have to decide the channel through which you are going to deliver the message. Fine. First you decided the message, then you decided encoded the message with all the information needed, everything, making the message simple, and also you decided how you are going to communicate in the third stage. The channel, you decide which channel you are going to use. Fine. So, but whenever we talk about communication, we mostly talk about the face-to-face communication. Fine, direct communication. And here that is one part of a channel. There are various other channel, like verbal channel is there, and written communication channel is also there, and these are the types in it. It's okay once the channel is fixed. Fine. you must also know what are the strengths and weakness of these channels. Fine. That is the most important aspect when you fix these channels. For verbal communication, role of body language is the strength. You are able to convince them, or talk to them, or even you can use your gestures, manual expressions, everything you can use in order to communicate in verbal communication. Weakness is that it's not possible to give a long list of directions. You cannot always say, give a lengthy instruction in a verbal communication. That needs to be done in a written communication. And always you have to write and give. You cannot just you are sending your friend for purchasing few items. You cannot just orally tell him that these are the things, you go and purchase and come. Maybe you have to give it in writing. Okay, so that is one strength and weakness of verbal communication. Similarly, written communication also has a strength and weakness. It's like, strength is that there will be always a proof of communication will be there. Like you send a mail to someone, fine. There is a proof that you sent that mail to that person. Okay, and weakness is that written words do not show a person's actual feelings. You cannot express feelings in it. You are angry, you are feeling overwhelmed, you are happy. This cannot be expressed very well in written communication. So every type of communication channel you choose has its own merits and demerits. So you have to be choosing the the channel of communication in the process very well. Next comes the decoding process. Okay, decoding process is that communication is not always about expressing things from one end to the other end. It's also about how well they receive it, whether the decoding process is highly effective or not. For a decoding process to be effective, the listener should be listening the communication very actively. Then if it is about written communication, then they must be reading the information very carefully. There should be no confusions at all in the communication. And the last one is ask questions in order to clear doubts in the communication. That increases the understanding of the listener towards that particular communication. Fine. This is very important, how well they decode the process of communication and whatever message is said. The last one is about the receiver. Whether, if you ask me, like, who is the important person, whether the sender or the receiver in the communication process, I would always say the receiver is an important person, because all the communications are actually designed for the receiver. Imagine, like, you're talking to your friend, and you're talking to your parent, and you're talking to your classmate, fine, and you're talking to your staff teacher. The same information you're passing on to these four different kind of people. How you communicate will be, and even the message, the content, everything will vary according to the receiver, right? You can think, like, even in our day-to-day communications, you see the same message you're conveying into two to three different people. You'll be conveying in two to three different ways. You'll be communicating it in. Why? The receiver plays a very important role. Okay, the audience or the individuals to whom we are sending the information, they are called as receivers. And how they influence, the influence the communication, it's through the prior knowledge can influence the receiver's understanding of the message. You think you're talking to some people and they know already about what you are talking about, fine, they have prior information about it, so they'll understand it better. If they're hearing it for the first time, they'll be having lots of confusions. Next is blockage in the receiver's mind. They're not interested in listening to you. When you go and you are interested in talking to someone, and that person is not interested in listening to you, what will happen? Whatever you say, that person will not be listening to it, and may not be understanding it. At the end, they'll say, no, I didn't understand anything. Why? At the very first place, they weren't interested in listening to it. They were blocking the conversations. Then it's like, no, surrounding disturbances. Like, no, is there any disturbances in the surrounding where the receiver is unable to receive the message? These are the various aspects of communication. And in order to for the receiver to receive the message very well, feedback is very important. Verbal reactions, and also non-verbal reactions, nodding, and also shaking your head while listening. All these things are non-verbal cues you can find. That's a feedback. right? You're talking to someone, they say that itself is a feedback, that we know that that person is listening to it. Fine. There are two types of feedbacks, positive feedback and negative feedback. Wherein positive feedback will increase the communication, or elicit the communication, whereas the negative feedback will stop the communication. Fine. So the context of the communication is very important, which we will be discussing it later. Because the context of the communication should be given focus to it. So these are the various units in the communication, which I just broke down and explained it in a very brief manner. Hope you have understood each process, each part units in the process of communication. We'll discuss the context later, because the context is the overall thing. If you see the outer box which is there in this list is called as the context. That context plays a very important role that we will discuss in the next session. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any doubts, kindly post it.